victory. It was his 7th win of the year, and it means that once the dropped score situation is taken into account, there is just 1 point between them. James Nicholas now with the advantage. He came into the weekend 3 points behind, and after race 1 he is now 1 point ahead of Jamie Caudle. That championship cannot be won in this second race of the weekend, so we certainly will see that roll on into at least race 3 later on in the morning. There is a chance, though, that the Rookie Class Championship, currently led by Sam Shrimpton, could be wrapped up in this race. I'll get into some of those championship permutations in a few moments. For now, though, let's take a look at the grid. This is another opportunity for James Nicholas from pole position to take a few more points out of Jamie Caudle. Charlie Digby will start alongside, and then the Rookie Championship leader Shrimpton has Jamie Caudle for company on that second row of the grid. Sam Shrimpton looking to try and claim another rookie victory as he did yesterday. Peter Thompson was one of the stars yesterday. He starts 5th alongside Joe Edge, with Alex Deaton and Shiv Sapra next. Shiv Sapra second in the Rookie Championship and needs to try and outscore Sam Shrimpton in this one to keep his hopes alive. Then it's Julian Wantling and Robin Grimwood, row 5. Row 6 for Faye Goff and Alan Wright, with Ben Cook and Lucy Hodgson together on the 7th row of the grid. 8th row for Ash Young and Phil McGarty. Row 9 then is Damien Duffy and Lexi Belk, and the 20-car grid is concluded by Chris Babington and Gilbert Verdian. So that's how the grid lines up. As I said, the GTA Championship battle will rumble on till later on in the day. But for Sam Shrimpton to win the Rookie Championship in this race, there are a few things that need to happen. He needs to finish 1st or 2nd in class. If he's not 1st or 2nd in class, then nothing else matters, and it goes on to race number 3. If he finishes 1st or 2nd in class, he must also finish ahead of Alan Wright. Of course, if he wins his class, that's guaranteed. And Shiv Sapra must fail to finish the race. Now, that's the key thing. As long as Shiv Sapra finishes the race, it's my understanding that the battle will go on to race number 3, but Shiv was in the middle of some pretty close moments in the first race yesterday. He did manage to finish the race, did Shiv Sapra. He was 2nd in class, but dropped 7 points to Sam Shrimpton, because Shrimpton not only claimed the win, but he had the class pole position, worth a bonus point, and set the fastest lap of the rookies, which was worth another bonus point. So those bonus points, I think, are going to be really crucial, not only in that rookie class battle, but particularly in the fight between James Nicholas and Jamie Caudle. Nicholas then is the white and blue number 99 car that starts from pole position. The sort of turquoise and black number 51 is his title rival, Jamie Caudle, and the Union Flag Palmer Sport liveried car, that is Sam Shrimpton, who could be just 20 minutes away from claiming the Rookie Championship victory. Rolling start then, 2 by 2 they run to the line, and James Nicholas looks for a good start and does not get one. Charlie Digby will lead on the outside line into turn 1, and immediately the title contenders are side by side. Caudle to the outside of Nicholas, Jamie Caudle late on the brakes, but James Nicholas has the preferred inside line and will at least keep Caudle behind. Caudle then has a wobble under acceleration, drifts a bit wide, and allows Sam Shrimpton to briefly get alongside. I don't think Shrimpton will make that move stick, or will he? He's going to try and stick it out round the outside, but Jamie Caudle, having absolutely none of it, hangs on to 3rd, with Shrimpton 4th, still leading the rookies. Bit of a close moment there for Julian Wantling as he slips up the inside of, I think that was Alan Wright, into the old hairpin. It's a much cleaner run through the first few corners today, though. Yesterday, remember, Charlie Digby challenged for the lead on the outside of James Nicholas into Redgate, but locked up and ran into the gravel trap. No such issues for Digby this time, and he leads the field up through McLean's corner and into the blind right-hander at the highest point of the circuit, Coppice. This is where that incredibly strong wind yesterday was causing the drivers all sorts of problems. It's a much more pleasant day today. The sun is shining, the temperature's already, I think, up on what it was yesterday, and crucially, that wind has largely passed through, I think, so we should be in for a much more settled day today, and that will be brilliant news for the drivers. I think they saw quite a lot of inconsistency yesterday across all of the classes as drivers struggled with the wind. Everyone cleanly through the chicane. Bit of a wide moment there for the 33 of Faye Goff. The battle is on for 3rd, though. Jamie Caudle not really able to go after James Nicholas at this stage, and instead busy defending from Sam Shrimpton, who will not gain any more points by overtaking the GTA class driver Jamie Caudle, but he will put another car between himself and Shiv Sapra, and that's what he's trying to do. Look to the inside into Goddard, and Shrimpton goes 3rd. Jamie Caudle deliberately jinks out to the outside line, tries to get the late apex, carry the speed along the main straight, but I don't think he's been able to do it, really. So Shrimpton makes 3rd place his own, and then goes very defensive into Redgate corner. Again, Caudle goes to the outside line on the way in, and this is what we saw him do to James Nicholas on on many occasions yesterday, wide in, tight out, and get the switch back, but not quite as effective this time in his attempts to get third place back. So that didn't cost Jamie Caudle any points, but it does mean that he's now that little bit further back from James Nicholas, and I'm not convinced those points are quite right, because James Nicholas came into the race a point ahead of Jamie Caudle, and quite clearly is outscoring him by a little bit more at this stage. He runs second in class, Caudle third, so that would be 30 points for Nicholas, and it would be 26 for Jamie Caudle. So that gap going out ever so slightly between the two of them. There is the number 8 of Shiv Sapra. So Shiv Sapra then still running in the race, which at least is keeping his title hopes alive, but really needs to try and beat Sam Shrimpton. That was the real reason that Shrimpton wanted to get past Jamie Caudle, because it puts now 2 cars between himself and the number 8 machine of Shiv Sapra, who will be ruining, I think, that non-finish that he had. Well, it was a non-start, wasn't it, at Brands Hatch. In fact, Shiv Sapra's Brands Hatch weekend was a bit of a disaster, really. Didn't finish the first race. Did bounce back to a race win in race 2, though, and would have really been hoping to then carry that form on into the third race, but that third race never happened. It will happen later on today, and the grid will be based upon how they should have lined up at Brands Hatch. So that's an opportunity, if Sapra can stay in the game until then, it's an opportunity for him to start ahead of Sam Shrimpton, who finished second in class in that second race at Brands Hatch. Right, leaders across the line. Very different look to the race this time, isn't there? Because it's a lot more settled. We're not seeing this constant jockeying for position between Nicholas and Caudle. And actually, Jamie Caudle now falling back into the clutches of Peter Thompson. So, don't know whether this is set-up differences between Jamie Caudle and James Nicholas's cars, but Nicholas looks a lot more comfortable right now. And there's a gap now between Nicholas and Shrimpton in third, and then another gap back to Caudle in fourth. This is then the battle for fifth. The Shiv Sapra is now starting to apply some pressure to Peter Thompson. So this is important for Shiv to try and clear a couple of these GTA drivers who score points within their own championship, but are still physically between Sapra and his title rival Sam Shrimpton. Out of McLean's into the right-hander at Coppice, and Peter Thompson looked like he was having a moment there as he turned into the corner. We ride on board now, though, with Jamie Caudle, and off in the distance, it looks to me as though James Nicholas is really starting to close in on the race leader. Yes, he is. This gap was 0.7 of a second at the start of the lap, but a really good middle sector. In fact, the fastest middle sector of the race so far for James Nicholas has put him right onto the rear bodywork of Charlie Digby's race-leading car now. Down into the Melbourne hairpin, Digby has to defend, and the MDD squad, who celebrated a championship victory yesterday in the Ginetta GT Championship, courtesy of Archie Clark, are now watching on as another one of their drivers, Charlie Digby, defends the race lead against James Nicholas, E3 Sport. Remember, he and Jamie Caudle are teammates as well, just to add to the rather tense atmosphere here at Donington Park. They're fighting for a championship and they're both run out of the same stable. James Nicholas, though, looks like the fastest man on track right now. In fact, he isn't. Jamie Caudle just set the fastest lap, just to prove me wrong, at 1:43.9, but Nicholas, I think, would argue that he's being held up slightly now by Charlie Digby. So a couple of important things going on now then. Jamie Caudle setting that fastest lap tells me that maybe he was just lacking a bit of confidence on cold tyres. Now he is getting quicker. He must get past Sam Shrimpton quickly. The reason I say that is he does not want to wait until James Nicholas potentially gets the lead away from Charlie Digby, because then there's a chance that Nicholas could escape. If Caudle can clear Shrimpton quickly, he might be able to latch onto the tail of that leading battle before either driver asserts any dominance at the front of the pack. So it's all closing in at the front. In fact, slowest of the lead group last time was Digby, a 1:44.6. That was 0.6 slower than James Nicholas, and about the same amount slower than Shrimpton and Caudle. So Digby, for whatever reason, struggling on that lap and continuing to struggle, I think. Nicholas is at least as close this time down the back straight as he was a lap ago. Caudle, look, is closing in the slipstream, jigs to the inside of Sam Shrimpton, more to try and distract the rookie leader. You have to feel that if an attack comes, a spirited attack comes from Jamie Caudle, which surely it will, then maybe Sam Shrimpton won't put up too much of a fight. We'll wait and see as they drop down into the Melbourne hairpin. Nicholas not close enough to attack Digby. Same story really for Caudle against Shrimpton, who is very late on the brakes into the Melbourne hairpin. 4 cars going through the Melbourne hairpin at the same time, and all of them taking very different lines, both on the way into, through, and out of the corner. The leaders look to me like they're side by side, are they? Is that Digby defending? It is. James Nicholas takes the wide line into Goddard, looks for the better exit, doesn't get alongside, but I think will have carried just a mile an hour or so more momentum off the turn, and he might now convert that into a challenge into Redgate corner. Across the line they go! Oh, contact further back at the Melbourne hairpin, and this is going to be a safety car, surely. I can't see the numbers on those two cars, but we have had drama at the Melbourne hairpin, and two cars, I suspect, which are going to need recovery. I think one is Alan Wright, number 77, and I think the other one might be Faye Goff, who came piling in afterwards. Well, a safety car would further bunch this leading group together, but it will also, and there is the safety car, rather predictably, I was about to say, it limits the opportunities for Nicholas and Caudle, indeed, to make any further progress, at least in the immediate future. Because, of course, with the safety car coming out, no overtaking is permitted, although the message hasn't quite got through to Sam Shrimpton, has it now? This is interesting. Shrimpton overtaking James Nicholas, who quite clearly has backed off for the safety car. Now Shrimpton gets the message. So, OK, he's given the position straight back, but I've seen penalties given for that sort of thing before. And that is the last thing that Sam Shrimpton needs. Hopefully, for his sake, he redressed the situation quickly enough, and race control will be happy that he did eventually see the safety car boards. James Nicholas had already got the memo, I think, hadn't he? He backed right off. And now they all do as they negotiate the chicane. So, James Nicholas then will have a moment to catch his breath. Charlie Digby, no longer a title contender. He was a long shot coming into the weekend, and then that off-track excursion that he had yesterday really was the final nail in the coffin as far as his championship battle was concerned. Oh, I've got that the wrong way round, actually, haven't it? It was the 33 car, I think, of Faye Goff, which had spun. It was actually 98, Lexi Belk, who came in afterwards. But Alan Wright may have been involved because he lost a lot of positions as well. No, I don't think he was he? There's the spin look, a solo spin for Faye Goff. And then wait for it, wait for it, wait for it. Here comes Lexi Belk. Now, oh, and she was blinded, wasn't she, by Damien Duffy's car in front. She couldn't see because she was so close to Damien Duffy's car ahead. And is this maybe going to explain the Alan Wright delay? Yes, it does. So it was a separate issue in the very next corner. And he nearly suffered the same fate, didn't he? Spinning in front of another car. And whoever that was did a really good job to avoid the stationary vehicle. So Lexi Belk's car going no further. Same is true, I believe, of Faye Goff. I don't think either of those cars got going. So there are two cars and various bits of Ginetta that need to be recovered from the Melbourne hairpin. It might take a few laps to get everything sorted and leave us with a little bit of a short sprint at the finish. There is Shiv Sapra. Now, he really sort of benefits from all of this because he did get ahead. Oh, we've had a lot of people have got ahead of Peter Thompson. What's happened to Peter Thompson then? He's all the way down in 10th position. So Shiv Sapra got past him. Was it on the last lap? No, the last lap time for Thompson was okay. So he's obviously had a drama a couple of laps ago, Peter Thompson, because he was running in 5th position. He's now down in 10th. Not sure whether that had anything to do with Shiv Sapra. Hopefully not. But anyway, that has now promoted Shiv into 5th. And, of course, he now bridges the gap to the leading group. And Shiv seemed to have some decent pace in the early stages. There's now only one car between himself and his rookie title rival, Sam Shrimpton. And that car is Jamie Caudle, who's going to be really on his toes to try and get ahead of Shrimpton as soon as possible so that he can then go after James Nicholas. So what I'm sort of slowly making a point towards is that Shiv Sapra might yet have an opportunity to go after Shrimpton in this one. We shall wait and see. Shiv Sapra, the Paradigm by Zentech machine, has his teammate Alex Deaton behind, and Deaton is not a title contender. He runs in the GTA class, actually, so a completely different class to Shiv Sapra. And so he might well be prepared to act as rear gunner and allow Shiv to really go on the attack upon the restart. You can see, though, the reason that I suggested this might take a while. Those two cars are still in dangerous spots. They could possibly choose to leave Lexi Belk's car where it is, because it's sort of well off the racetrack on the inside on the grass, which is not that dangerous a position. There also appear to be some cement dust going down, though, so there's fluid, radiator fluid, I guess, from one or both of the cars which has been spilled. And this clean-up operation will take the marshals a little bit of time. Yes, I think they are just going to drag both cars over to the barrier on the right-hand side. Marshall's doing a really good job to guide the drivers away from all of the debris, away from the fluid that they're dealing with on the inside line. And That's really, really good communication from the marshals. There are a lot of marshals here this weekend. It's a busy weekend of motorsport in the UK. Some fairly significant events going on up and down the country, and yet always these British GT events are very well supported by the Orange Army, and we thank them, as we always should do, for their dedication to allowing us to go motor racing. You can see just at that one marshal's post alone, a whole team of them, each with an assigned role. There'll be a chief marshal who will be sort of issuing the instructions, if you like, and but a lot of them will have been experienced at marshalling for a number of years. They automatically know what they need to do, and that's why British marshals are widely regarded as the best in the world. They're very, very good at dealing with these things very efficiently, so fingers crossed it won't be too much longer before we get the race back underway. We've got 7 minutes and 20 seconds of the race still to go. As it stands then, James Nicholas would further extend his championship lead over Jamie Caudle. Of course, he would extend it further if he could get ahead of Charlie Digby. So whilst the temptation is possibly there for James Nicholas to play the percentages and sort of settle for second, knowing that he's at least beating Caudle, I'm sure there's a little part of his brain that wants to go for the win, because that's an extra 5 points. The biggest difference in points between any two positions is between first and second. Fagoff and Lexi Belk there just discussing what happened. They both seem largely okay though, and able to smile and laugh about it. There was nothing really that either of them could have done about that. Certainly not Lexi Belk, who was completely unsighted behind Damien Duffy's car and just didn't have any chance to react to the stationary machine, which was broadside across the middle of the road. So how is that recovery operation going? Might we go racing this time? The safety car, I think, is going deliberately quite slowly, which means there's a chance, they think, race control this is, that they might be able to bring it in this time. They will slow the pace down so that it gives the marshals the maximum amount of time possible to clear the track and get the race back underway. If we don't go racing this time, though, I suspect we might only have a lap or two after this. So the longer it goes on, in a way, the better for James Nicholas, because, like I said, as much as he would like to win the race, he is at least ahead of Caudle at the moment. If the race restarts shortly, then anything could happen. And it is going to restart shortly because the lights are now out. So the lights are out on the Ginetta G56 safety car, and it's now down to Charlie Digby to try and ace the restart and try to get himself up the road and out of striking range from James Nicholas. The advantage, you feel, always lies with the race leader in this situation. It's down to Nicholas to try and react and almost anticipate when Charlie Digby's going to accelerate. Charlie's left a big gap to the safety car, maybe leaving the possibility to go early, but no, keeps weaving, keeps on dabbing the brakes and bunching the field up. The more bunching there is behind him, the better his chances are then of getting away. Now he looks to have accelerated, I think, into Goddard. Obviously hits the brakes for the corner, but he is now at race speed. So Charlie Digby then gets us back underway with 5 minutes of the race to go. And it's a good restart, that, from the race leader. Nicholas, though, in fairness, under no real threat from Shrimpton. They're all pretty well spaced out, this leading quintet, as we arrive at Redgate Corner at race speed once again. They'll have all lost a little bit of tyre temperature, a little bit of brake temperature with those couple of laps at low speed. So might be a little bit of caution as they head through the Craner curves this time around. Shiv Sapra, importantly, latching on more or less to that lead group as well. We'll see what progress he can make towards Sam Shrimpton, who's sort of in no man's land there, isn't he, in third position. There goes Sapra. Looks for a good exit from the old hairpin. Caudle not really on his toes. The one that looks most likely to make a move is, again, James Nicholas, isn't it? Because he is already starting to close the gap that Digby had built at the restart. Slightly wide for Digby there through McLean's. Didn't quite hit the curb, which limits the rotation of the car. And that means, again, Nicholas is closing into Coppice. Defensive line for the leader. They both took a bit too much curve on the inside, though. And so, in the end, no real advantage to either of them as they head onto the exhibition straight, where yesterday that tailwind was causing all sorts of problems into the chicane. Much calmer today. There's still a slipstream effect, though, which bunches them back together. Noses dip aggressively as they pitch it into the left-right flick at the chicane and head down into the best overtaking opportunity on the circuit at the Melbourne hairpin. And it is James Nicholas who, again, is going on the attack. Digby defends, and this is now going to start bunching them all together. With the race leader defending, it slows the pack down. James Nicholas needs to try and get this done quickly. He's alongside on the exit of the corner, but the next turn at Goddard's is a left-hander. That favours Digby, who is not going to roll over here. He might not be a championship contender anymore, but he wants another race victory if he can get get one. He is holding on. Nicholas right round the outside, almost runs out of room. He does have 2 wheels in the dirt, and does that now give Sam Shrimpton an opportunity to attack for second? Down into Redgate we go. Nicholas is defending, I think, isn't he? Yes, Shrimpton is right there with them, but Jamie Caudle just can't get up there and battle with them. He is a second behind the leading 3. So Jamie Caudle again on cold tyres, just not quite got the confidence to go with the leaders, and this would have been his opportunity to get stuck in and try to get onto terms with James Nicholas, who still is in second position. Oh, lock up for Shrimpton, just about gets the car into the corner. But this is why he really doesn't need to be getting too involved with these two. It is third position overall for Shrimpton, but that is a class win. That's maximum points. He's outscoring Shiv Sapra, but he feels, I think, that he's got the pace maybe to get one step further up the overall podium. Now to McLean's they go. Good run this time through McLean's for Digby. It's Nicholas on this occasion who drifts back ever so slightly. Perhaps now starting to worry more about keeping Shrimpton at bay. Because again, whilst that wouldn't make a difference in points if Shrimpton got through, Sam Shrimpton is serving as a nice buffer between James Nicholas and Jamie Caudle at the moment. Head down into the chicane, where I don't think Digby had a great run a lap ago. I think that's what sort of triggered all of that action at the hairpin. But he did a good job to defend, did Charlie, and left James Nicholas just enough space on the exit of Goddard. Nicholas, though, has closed right in again, so Digby struggling through the chicane. Nicholas to the outside, Shrimpton looks to the inside, and now Caudle is with them. So Jamie Caudle, as we're about to begin the final lap, finally is at the races, and we are right on board with him now. Jamie Caudle knows the significance of trying to beat James Nicholas in this race, and he'll be sort of willing Sam Shrimpton on here to have a go at Nicholas, because that could open the door for Caudle to go through as well. Final lap of the race begins then. This second of 4 races this weekend for the Ginetta GT Academy, and it is now Caudle on the attack. Look, Shrimpton defending vigorously to the inside into Redgate. Caudle goes the long way round on the way in, but look for the exit speed. We're riding on board. Look at that. The late apex gets on the power. Can he get at the inside? No. Shrimpton gets over to cover, and looked for all the world there like Caudle would have an overlap, but it wasn't to be. And that's one overtaking opportunity gone now for Jamie Caudle. The old hairpin would have been another, but it's not really close enough. Jamie did just set a new fastest lap last time around, though. That's worth a bonus point, and that could be significant. So at the moment, he would not be being outscored by James Nicholas by a huge amount. But that could all change if Nicholas wins the race, which he is trying to do. He's on the outside of Digby into McLean's corner. Again, looking for the switchback. Had a bit of a wobble, though, a bit of a slide from the rear end as he got on the power, and so wasn't able to get the overlap to the inside. Forces another defensive move out of Digby into Coppice, though. And this is going to turn into a bit of a drag race down the straight. Now, this is where Digby's been a bit weak over the last few laps at the chicane, and this time he might even have James Nicholas alongside him, certainly in his wheel tracks as they head into the Fogarty S's. Is there a gap up the inside? There is, and Nicholas goes for it. James Nicholas up the inside into the chicane, gets the lead. Fantastic. Through the gravel goes Digby, and here comes Caudle. Squeezes through the middle of Shrimpton and Digby, and just like that, Jamie Caudle goes from 4th to 2nd, and crucially gains 2nd place in class. Shrimpton back up the inside of him into the Melbourne hairpin. Caudle could sort of let him go, really. What he doesn't want to do is allow Digby back through. That would cost him 4 championship points if Digby gets back ahead, but I don't think Charlie's close enough into the final corner. Oh, back up the inside goes Caudle. That's a bit of a risky move to be making, but I think he will make it stick. James Nicholas then, with a last lap overtake at the chicane, is going to claim win number 8 of the season and extend his championship lead, but by a limited amount, with Jamie Caudle brilliantly taking advantage of that situation to gain 2nd place on the final lap as well. Shrimpton claims another rookie class win, but I believe will not yet be crowned champion. I think that will roll on to the 3rd race later on. He needed Shiv Sapra, I think, to non-finish that race in order for it to be decided, and Shiv Sapra did come home 5th overall and 2nd in class. Well, fantastic final lap. This was Jamie Caudle's view. We're about to go from 4th to 2nd, and it's all because of what James Nicholas is doing up the road. Look, a really opportunistic move up the inside into the chicane, forces Digby wide. There was a bit of a touch between Caudle and Shrimpton. I think Shrimpton maybe had backed up, seeing that it was all about to kick off in front of him. I really hope for Caudle's sake that he doesn't pick up a penalty for that. It would be a shame if the championship were to be sort of decided by that. Shrimpton goes back through again into the Melbourne hairpin, and then look at this for a dive for Jamie Caudle. Bear in mind, this doesn't even get him any more championship points, but it's a grid position, I think, isn't it? Extra that he gains for race 3 later on, so it was worth doing, and it was a peach of a move, that one. Can't argue with that one. Into the Goddard's hairpin, and he picks up 2nd position. and will lose, as I said, very few points to James Nicholas. Nicholas gets the win, that's 35 points. He had pole position as well, which will be worth a bonus. So that's 36, but Caudle will score 31 because he had the fastest lap, so it's still going to be not a lot in it. Might go up to about 6 points or so, the difference, but we'll get that confirmed immediately after the race. So, James Nicholas picks up an 8th win of the season and extends his championship margin over Jamie Caudle, but that was such an important move to get up into 2nd in class for Jamie on the final lap. Sam Shrimpton ends up 3rd, but wins the rookie category ahead of Charlie Digby with Shiv Sapra and Joe Edge completing that rookie podium. Alex Dayton was 7th, ahead of Julian Watling and Robin Grimwood. Peter Thompson dropped down to 10th early in the race, and that's where he stayed, with Lucy Hodgson 11th and Phil McGarty 12th. Then it was Ben Cook, Alan Wright after his spin was 14th, Ash Young 15th, Damien Duffy 16th, with Chris Babington and Gilbert Verdi in the last of the finishers. Fagoff and Lexi Belk, of course, non-finishing after their safety car inducing tangle down at the Melbourne Hairpin. The second race of the weekend for the Ginetta GT Academy Championship saw Charlie Digby this time successfully get the lead away from James Nicholas on the outside run into Redgate Corner, and he made the corner this time, unlike what happened at the start of race number 1. Nicholas did fend off Jamie Caudle, though, who was struggling on cold tyres, and Sam Shrimpton was able to take advantage, the rookie class leader, moving up into a podium place that he would hold pretty much throughout the rest of the race. There was drama down at the Melbourne Hairpin, though. A spin for Faye Goff meant that she was stranded in the middle of the road and blindsided behind another car. Lexi Belk had nowhere to go and clattered into the side of her. That brought about a safety car upon the restart. Well, before that point, in fact, Alan Wright had a solo spin as well, and the very next turn up at Goddard's. Upon the restart, battle was on at the front of the field. James Nicholas desperately wanted to get the maximum points to further extend his championship margin over Jamie Caudle, but he had to get past Charlie Digby to make that happen. On the final run through the Fogarty S's, he launched to the inside and made a brilliant move, forced Digby through the gravel, and Jamie Caudle went from 4th to 2nd, getting ahead of a sideways Shrimpton and squeezing between he and the recovering Digby to claim 2nd position. Shrimpton did then get back up the inside from a long way back into the Melbourne Hairpin, but the position would swap once more at the final turn, and Jamie Caudle would put himself into 2nd overall and, crucially, 2nd in the GTA class. Not that many points lost to Nicholas, and that championship battle, as is the case for the rookies, will roll on into the 3rd race of the weekend.